Hello, there we go. Just a second there where it wouldn't show up on the screen, but we are back here for RLduels for this opening 1v1. Same as usual, ladies and gentlemen, it is a best of 5. We've got two top talents here in Europe. The highest RLduels rating actually going to Tjester with 1799. Literally one off getting that 1800 rating, and it's for that reason where that, I believe it is called Urban Central, but to start things off, it's going to be the lowest seeded Albanian Ringa getting us our first goal of the day. But now this is just that feeling out period here in a 1v1. I've definitely noticed it where at the beginning it doesn't necessarily tell the full story of a full series. You never know, Ringa could come out the gate with plenty of power and it could continue the whole way through. But Tjester, he might find that one weakness, and of course, when a 1v1 player realizes what that weakness is, they're so good at punishing it. And especially at this level, you really can't afford to leave any gaps in your play. We see here Ringa try to show off a little something with the low boost. Unfortunately, that's just going to gift an open net here for Tjester. That's his first goal of the game, and we do go to equal. So here, the third kickoff already in this opening matchup. Only 1 minute, 2 seconds gone, and we will get ourselves a third goal straight off it. Ringa liked that 1 goal difference, fancied keeping it, so of course he is just going to throw another shot on net there straight off the kickoff and give Ringa not a single taste of equality. He wants to let him know that he is the best. He will try and maintain this lead to the best he can, and at the moment that he loses it, he's going to be fighting to get it back. But Ringa, looking for a bit of revenge, going for that mechanical play, can't quite push it through the defender, and now Tjester will pick up the ball, keeps it low to try and fake out Ringa, but Ringa, he's had great reading so far, and he of course does have the lead. This time he'll try and delay his flip after going for the flip reset to try and get past Tjester, but Tjester does read that one a little bit in advance, and it's now enough time here. That counter-attack not quite coming together. Tjester will pick up possession, 100 boost as well. He's got that player close. Ringa not giving him the space, not giving him the time, and then he will come out on top with a counter-attack of his own. It's definitely been a bit of a shaky start, I would say, from both players, but when it all starts coming together, I think we're in for a very different game. I mean, Ringa actually, to give him some respect, has been pretty strong so far. He's definitely felt like the better player, and it's good to have a scoreline that really does echo that. You know, sometimes the aesthetics don't quite match the scoreboard at the top of the screen, but I think we are seeing that so far. Tjester's shot will fly nowhere near on target, unfortunately. That one way over the bar, so now it's Ringa on the counter. Does get that flip. It's not enough power to force its way through, but he will collect the 100 boost, and now Tjester has to use what he has. He's done well so far in conserving it, but when it was actually time to use it, it was Ringa who let him burn it all down in 150-50, which he would win regardless himself. And now that's a 4-1 advantage gained here by the Albanian. It is a fantastic start here in this competitive 1v1 show match. It's great control. He's beaten, however, on the 50 here by Tjester. He just wasn't quite able to do anything with it. It's now Tjester trying to sneak it in, wanting the Doomsy dish. Ringa doesn't let it happen, and now it's his chance for the counter-attack. This ball will just bounce off that bottom corner. Ringa will send it forward. Nothing quite finding its way out yet. Ringa will go low. That ball popped higher than I was expecting, but Tjester was able to react in time. That shot, not having the most power initially, but he's had a little bit of fun with it. Spun his car a little, gone for a wave dash, just trying to get those fingers moving, trying to get himself prepared for the rest of this match. Those mechanics got to be picture perfect in this type of playlist, and something we are looking for here. Tjester not quite catching it with the flip reset, but does get a favourable 50. Ringa, though, will fly back with his recovery to keep that ball out, and now it's Ringa. Little bit of boost in the tank. Tjester's got the most in defence, and he does control that first ball well. But it's all about the follow-up here for Ringa and what he does with it. That play in the corner, though, it's always such a risky thing to go for. And it looked like Tjester was going to be able to reap his rewards, but not enough boost in the tank. He's gone for the corner this time, and Ringa doesn't take the opportunity. I felt like there was a bit of an opening there for him to get another goal, and instead he's going to find himself scored on by the counter-attack here by Tjester. I think this was a missed opportunity here by our orange-sided player. And we'll see if he really feels the strenuous end of it. He will, because Tjester's got another goal and they are back to equal. All that hard work reduced to none now. And now we are back to a much closer game. You saw it in the top right. I'm going to stop skipping replays if possible, especially when they get a little bit fancy with it. We want to see the full extent of our mechanics. Tjester, flip reset. Can't quite force it through Ringa, so it's Tjester again. We'll pop it high, but Ringa is going to have to chase for this one. Tjester couldn't get it through, so Ringa will put himself back in the lead. I don't believe, actually, that he's been behind at all yet in this game so far. And, of course, therefore, the series. So, it's a good opening statement to put on your higher seeded opponent. And we'll see if this is a pattern that can continue. I'd be very impressed if it were to for the full extent of the series. And even maybe in this game alone. But Ringa should have the kickoff. First, it just looks stamped in the middle. It was all about this secondary one. It was almost a second kickoff in of itself. But that one, unfortunately for Tjester, will just pinch in the back of his own net. So now 36 seconds remaining, a 2-goal difference, and things are definitely looking dire on the blue side. That kickoff promised to put a little bit more life into things, but Ringa was able to get back in time. He might even be able to get a 3rd goal difference. Not quite, it does come off the post, but he will stay very close to the play. And I've noticed this is something that Ringa really likes to do. He doesn't like to detach himself from the play. He's not going to give Tjester plenty of space. He likes to get down and dirty. Likes to get in these awkward situations and just know that he'll be better at manoeuvring his way out of them. This first game will come to an end and it won't be to a goal here from Tjester. It is a 6. Only got better as time went on and proved that he had just a little bit more to show here. So we'll see if anything can come out of his kickoff. He does actually get initial possession and the 100 boost. Ringa forced to abandon that one. We'll try to cut that one over. He does! And this is the perfect start you want. Ending a curse that was thrust upon you in game 1 within seconds of the second. Tjester takes his lead for the first time this series, and now Ringa has a scoreline to chase himself. These are both players that have really been trying to get involved in the 1v1 scene recently, namely salt mine qualifiers and the like. But of course that does continue with these show matches and featuring themselves on RLduels. We get a lot of top talent here on the stream, so be sure to follow, and the YouTube as well, where these games will be posted. And Tjester will be able to go on the YouTube and watch that one back, because he's given himself a 2-0 lead here in under 30 seconds. After facing such defeat in that first game, he looks unbothered here in the second one. He's been able to keep that mental in check, and it's a very important factor here in 1v1s. I'd say more than in any other playlist. You've got no teammates to uplift you. It's just yourself, your thoughts, that score box on the top of the screen, and of course your opponent's right in front of you. But he doesn't have to see him this time, because he's thrown him off the pitch and just taken the open net all for himself. Fantastic here. 3rd goal from Tjester. And, well, no real worries here heading into the final 4 minutes and 20 seconds of the game. I mean, 40 seconds and 3 goals. It's an impressive feat so far. Type that would call for a double-digit scoreline, but I don't know if we'll have that privilege. Tjester certainly on board to do so, however. It was a fluid kickoff here, and Ringa really left no chances here to try and get the recovery off and bring that ball out from going in the back of the net. Very one-sided, very easy. It's all Tjester. 4 goals ahead here against Ringa, and this isn't quite the same 2 players we saw in that opening game, but Ringa looking to get himself back into the swing of things. It's not quite these, close control, aggressive plays that he would have before. He was forced to concede a bit of space to Tjester, but when that time came where he had to challenge those strong 50-50s, which we saw in those first 5 minutes, came back to light, and of course it does give him that goal. Oh, we do see actually a fake kickoff here from Tjester. He rarely got space in game 1, so he's going to try and create it any method he can here in this second one. It's now 5-1 here, with only 1 minute passed in game 2. Well, we'll see what he does with this kickoff this time. We've seen fake kickoffs, we've seen him be as fluid as possible, getting those quick goals straight off it. But now it's all about the mechanics. Off the ceiling, Ringa stays close, and we'll see how he follows up this one. And oh my gosh, he found the angle! Oh, goals can be so fancy in 1v1. He's been bumped into it. That is insane. Oh, when you ask for mechanics, when you ask for recoveries, usually it's defensive. Not this time. Fully offensive, in the air, above the crossbar. He's able to realign himself and throw that ball on target. That is fantastic here from Tjester. Where was that in game 1? And now Ringa's in a big heap of trouble here because it's a 5-goal difference, and at any stage of the game, that is a very dangerous position to be in, albeit he does have plenty of time to try and close this one down. He does bring it down to 4, coming in from his own corner. It's the first real moment of this game where he's had any signs of possession, and he's made the most of it. But Tjester has done well to, whenever he has had the ball, he's just, well, made sure he's scored almost every single time. 8 goals, 1 minute 40 just passed. We might find 9, but Ringa does make the save to prevent that initially. We do allow some moments to pass. Tjester back in the air. We've seen how impressive mechanically he is now, especially when it was off for recovery. But that time, it was all off his own volition, and Ringa might be able to find that counter-attack, but just back in the nick of time. We spoke about recoveries being so defensively focused, and we saw it in offense. Tjester showing it in its standard way there with that save. Ringa, though, will try and find his third. Tjester will tip this one over. Ringa still with all the boost here between these two players. Tjester not even able to catch that one as it respawns because it hasn't come yet. Ringa, tough angle, crossbar hits. And when you're in a position where you need to chase back from 4 goals, you have to be taking every single opportunity. He's missed his chance there. And now Tjester will get a shot of his own. 7-2 now the scoreline, and we might be taking a trip to Barcelona if he's able to get another. Would love to see how Ringa will be able to respond. Off a kickoff. That ball goes wide. He's back in the possession of the blue side, off the highest seed. He's not a player you'll want to see in possession, especially with that much space and boost and time. But Ringa, able to hold things back, and he might have been able to create an opportunity of his own, but no, Tjester, one more touch to make things awkward, make things almost impossible for Ringa to find that one on target. Big demos coming out. There is space and time. This is Rocket League. Well said there, Ringa. This is just a mechanic. It's part of the game. There can be no complaints here. Tjester on the ball. That one's coming off the back wall. Can he do it again with another mechanical play? Yes, he can. Oh, Ringa's actually left the match. I don't know what that one's about. I feel like this has to go down as a forfeit. I've never actually quite far on the RLduels Twitch stream where they've actually called a forfeit in a game. Sometimes it's early ends on the match-winning game, but nothing quite like this. But, you know, I kind of understand it from Ringa. If I had the option to forfeit that second game and I don't think I'd be able to come back or use that opportunity well, I'd want that refresh. I'd want that 5 minutes left on the clock with 0-0 up top, so that I can just have a clean slate, a clean state of mind, and maybe I can open up the scoring with the first goal here in this third game. Ringa looking for that comeback and seemingly being able to get himself back into check, because clearly it was a bit of a taxing second game. And oh, that's not a great kickoff. Tjester doesn't get it initially on target. That second one was, but not nearly enough power behind it. And I think Ringa should be counting his lucky stars there, because if there was anything to go off with that forfeit in that game before, that would have been a very frustrating way to concede there. But they do continue. Ringa maintaining the lead here just as we cross that 1 minute mark. He might be able to actually double it before that point is reached. No, fantastic save there actually from Tjester. We do keep going. And it is a flip reset gained. He'll be able to use it! Better here from Ringa. New match, new player. It is the same server, but he's just able to throw this one away into the top half of a goal. And Tjester, maybe thrown a little bit off guard. He had a bit of stride before that forfeit was called. And things seemingly slowing down, albeit he did have his opportunity straight off last kickoff. That's a fantastic save from Ringa. He's managed to push it off the post. He's not out the woods yet. That one attempted to go low. He saved one high, one low. Tjester not getting that third opportunity to try out the middle, perhaps. Incredible here in defense. And now he's just out for blood. This is a Ringa who's... Oh, and he's wasting down the time as well. Had one final look at him. Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's personal between Ringa and Tjester here in this third game. Obviously... In a more competitive way, I'm sure. They've been very nice outside the match. But once you have that competitive drive, that motivation, you see what can really be brought out. Tjester does get that bit of revenge with a very nice individual dribble play straight off the kickoff. Initial flip high, does control this one. Use that second flip well. And then the cheeky backflip as well, just to tap that ball into the back of the net. It was going to find its way regardless. Now it's Ringa. Off the kickoff. That's a great 50-50. He will take the mid-right boost as well. Wall dash. Hasn't quite fully found it. Now he'll go all the way back to his own corner because that opportunity wasn't quite lining up how he'd want to. Ringa is so good, I'd have to agree. I mean, chat saying exactly what we should all be thinking here. When he is on, he is on. And it's tough for opponents really to shut him down. But we've seen that, you know, he isn't perfect. He did have that game too where the final score we said was 8-2, but that was after a very, very early forfeit. But now he's back here in game 3, and it feels like we're seeing that game 1 Ringa all over again, who really hasn't lost touch of the ball whatsoever. Tjester, even when he's had his opportunities, it's been followed by fantastic defensive work. It's almost like the orange players really been the one in control, whether they are in or out of possession. And when you're able to create that kind of mentality here in a game of Rocket League, especially a 1v1, it's such a hard thing for the opponents to break out of. You're kind of in their head a little bit. Not that I'm saying Tjester might necessarily feel that, but it just feels like that's how the flow of the game really has gone. That shot's high. It's not on target, and Ringa has been able to tip that one over. He won't be able to get his fifth. He's going to have to work a little bit harder to do so. I thought he was free initially, but Tjester was so fast to get back, and Ringa, it's just these kind of tough situations he really backs himself in. He loves being tight to the ball. He likes being in these kind of positions where you have to be unorthodox with your play. And speaking of unorthodox, he wouldn't just take the open net like a normal human, would he? Cheeky little plan B touch into the back of the net, making Tjester watch from afar. And this is a very different game 3 to what we saw in that game 2, and it's more and more making it look like that was a one-off, because Ringa did play like this in game 1. He was that dominant force, a player that was ahead for the entirety of the game or equal. Tjester hasn't been ahead in this one, and he hasn't even been close for quite some time. Once Ringa got those goals started, he hasn't really stopped. And defensively, I mean, look at that. It's just picture perfect. It's excellent. Even when he doesn't have boost of a tank, he's so good at positioning his car well, and I think it comes from that tight to the ball play style he's so used to. However, Tjester has been able to find that opening. He has been able to find that second goal. And with 1 minute 21 seconds left to go, he's got a 3-goal difference to try and get back from if he wants to put himself ahead in series score. And Ringa is going to continue to not make that easy, especially with kickoffs like that. Simple as you like. Just as Tjester thought he was getting a cheeky bit of momentum, that kickoff just a little bit delayed there from Tjester. It's hard to tell whether that one was deliberate, but Ringa saw through it, had the perfect response on the kickoff, and now We're basically back in the same situation we were before. You could argue the momentum has slightly been shaken with Ringa not having, what was it, like 4 goals in a row. And it's more of that tight play here. Tjester looking better in this instance, however. He does get the 100 boost. Should have the open goal as well. There's no way Ringa's back for that one. And now a 3-goal difference, but with 1 minute remaining. And the question has to be asked here to the Frenchman. Do you believe in miracles? Can you pull it off? How much do you back yourself? Do you think you can slow down the unstoppable force so far, which has been Ringa in this 3rd game? Well, it's a good kickoff to start things off, but Ringa, no fear, just commits to that play, and he might even get a goal. No, just off the post here. It's Tjester again, popping that ball high, wants to find the bump as well. Just about lands it. Such a tight difference here from not having this touch be enough, and Ringa being able to make that save. But he does get it. Feels like toe-to-toe here. And he has forced his way through. 44 seconds. 4 goals here for Tjester. But 6 for Ringa. Tjester, though, will pick back up possession. He's got good control on the top of his car. And will he just use that same move again? He'll try it. But he was nowhere near the opponent there to try and land that bump. And now 30 seconds remaining. The yellow text does flash on the screen. And I think this will be a moment of panic, actually, from both players. Maybe not Ringa if he can put this one away, however. And, oh, he's just so cool with it every time. Whenever it's an open net, he really takes his time when he has the lead. He will whittle down that clock to the best he can, and he'll, you know, try and do it in as fancy a fashion as possible, making the opponent watch, because what else can they do? They're not going to get back in time. 19 seconds. Times, I was going to say, continuing to look dire here for Tjester, but he has gotten a goal for the road. I don't know if this one will just be consolation, however. And yeah, Ringa did delay himself off that kickoff, but there was definitely a slight misreading of the technique, because he still left himself so susceptible for that shot. He took that one normally. However, Tjester just more favourable on that one. Couldn't get the shot off. It is back to Ringa. He will see another open net, and Tjester, I think, will accept now, finally, that this one is over. But I must say, I've loved the fighting mentality he has had throughout this game. He really hasn't slowed things down. No matter what the goal difference has been, he's really tried to compete to the best of his abilities to try and get that goal difference back down to 0. I don't think this is a player you're going to see forfeit early. And that has been a difference between these two sides, but only one difference. Knew that he could back himself in and try and get Tjester to be a little bit uncomfortable. And then you'll spend the whole game with either the lead or an equal scoreline. And it was just something which Tjester really couldn't chase that time as well as he did in Game 1. We had more moments of equality, certainly in the opener, than we did in Game 3. And Game 4 is going to be something of which Ringa is going to try and repeat the feats of what he did in that 3rd game, and of course Game 1 as well. And Tjester, in the back of his head, is going to be thinking about that Game 2, the incredible momentum he had, and which ultimately got stopped by a complete refresh of play after the forfeit. Ringa, though, will hit this one high. It won't really challenge the goalkeeper, however, who has plenty of space now. He's got his flip as well coming off the ceiling. He'll delay it as long as possible. But Ringa still able to read that one. I mean, that is simply fantastic defense. I thought that Tjester played this one perfectly. Perfectly. Delayed his flip almost as long as he could. Not till the very final second, but just enough to keep the defender guessing. And keep him guessing he did. And still that wasn't enough. A perfect save and a perfect counter. I mean, you really can't complain there if you're on the blue side. He does get that counter goal as well off the kickoff. Beautiful flick there into the top right corner. There's your postage stamp. And now both players can say it's still 0-0. We've got 4 minutes left to go. Let's just see what happens. I'm interested to see how Tjester will take this kickoff. We've seen some variants, actually, in this series so far. We've had Tjester completely fake it. We've seen Ringa attempt for delays with varying levels of success between the two of them. Tjester's big booming clear leading to a big boom from Ringa's car as he does land that demo. Ringa completely abandoning play, going for that other corner for the 100 boost. Tjester not getting that perfect flick like he got before, and I think if he did manage to land it, that one would have found its way through Ringa, who had to slow themselves down, had to come in at the more awkward angle after having to pick up that other corner boost. And speaking of picking up corner boost, Tjester doing it offensively here, and he has actually whittled down the boost count of his opponents, but he doesn't need it. Off the post, he'll get the follow-up, saved there by Tjester. I couldn't tell if that one was going in or if he was able to tip that one wide, but all that matters is the scoreline remains the same. Another demo on the pitch, and it's Tjester again with that extra bit of physicality. Ringa, he looked for that very same corner boost he picked up before, but it wasn't there this time. He's able to enact a little bit of revenge, however. And you see him taking it more towards the middle, trying to keep Tjester guessing, keeping those opportunities open. But it's a fantastic save, a good clearance, and I don't think he'll be able to get back for this one. The Frenchman has returned. He's gotten himself a lead, and well, the last time he was able to get himself a lead, he was able to go all the way and force a forfeit in Game 2. Will that repeat here in Game 4? Will we be seeing a Game 5? Or will Ringa get it done in 4 and be able to come back from this one? Tjester does get that initial flick and just powers his way through that ball. There's his third. And Ringa has been left absolutely zooming on that one. It was just a perfectly positioned 50-50 here from Tjester coming off the wall. Knew which way Ringa would commit himself, so he just about shifted where the whole dynamics of that 50 were going to be there so that it could be in his favour. And, you know, a little bit heavier on that right-hand side to try and echo that of Ringa's play and send him flying. But now, 2 minutes 15, another shot from Tjester, who's still looking to extend that scoreline. We've seen games with quite wide scorelines actually so far, so I'm interested to see if that will follow or if Ringa will be able to close this one down a bit and keep this one close. He does have possession here. He did have good control as well, but he lost it a little bit at the end just as he decided he wanted to go for the flick. But there's the demo to give himself some time. Only a 100 boost as well. He will self-set himself for the hook shot. Just a save. Doesn't quite get him fully out of danger, but it will do initially. Ringa, 100 boost again. Will get the flip reset. Will keep Tjester guessing by not using it. A save does come out. It does go to that safe corner. And he'll pick up 100 boost as well. And he'll feel safe for the time being. He's got a beautiful cut there. That one not on target. Neither is the follow-up. And Ringa has gotten away with that one. Will he be able to make the most of it, however? Because he's got possession. He's got Tjester on the back foot. But Tjester, so good the way he shadowed there. Kept Ringa guessing, made him think twice, and was able to get the counter of the counter of the counter of the counter. But that is just the story of 1v1s, ladies and gentlemen. And the best will get the final laugh. And Tjester trying to establish himself as exactly that here in this matchup. 4-1. We said that 3 goal differences in the final minute were going to be very hard to shut down, and we said that 4 goal differences were even tougher. Ringa finds himself in that exact situation now. And dare I say, this is going to be a victory lap minute here for Ringa, for Tjester even. Unless Ringa could pull off an absolute miracle. Still a little bit of boost between them after that kickoff, but Tjester will pick up the wide. That one won't find the back of the net. It's a save here, but he can't follow up. He doesn't have the boost to do so. Tjester has plenty of boost, plenty of time, and open net as well. And now it's his turn to try and whittle down that clock. Ringa will have a look where he is. He's just running off. He's unbothered. Tjester will let that one roll in. And there is 6-1. He is one off that Brazil score, and I think actually that game management will ensure him this victory. If he didn't already have it before, which I would argue he already did. 33 seconds. And it is looking like we will get that Game 5 coming from the opening series. That's exactly what you want to see on the stream. We want to maximise the amount of high-level 1v1 action we can get if it is possible. I mean, this is going to be a fantastic one for the YouTube as well. Be sure to check out the RLduels YouTube channel and, of course, the website, because this will be uploaded on there as well. Ringa actually wasting some time for himself. I think he's trying to get as slow of a shot as possible. We'll see how slow that one was. He was able to get that 2 kph, not quite 0. I know that it's possible. It's not been pulled off this time. But, of course, it is basically guaranteed now. We are going to be going to Game 5. This was Game 4. This was Tjester, the Frenchman, getting his own back with another wide-scoring victory in the favour of him. Cheer for one final showdown. Was just getting some things finalised here for it. But we can have this final kickoff. 5 minutes to go. We do have a big start here coming from Tjester. He does try to get that flow-off shot, but he can't quite pull it off. So now it's Ringa on the defense, trying to get that initial counter. Surely that's in. Tjester can't get back in time. And first blood is shown here. And it is for the lower-seeded player. It is Ringa, the one who got this all started. They've been trading games at the moment, AB, AB. And to complete that pattern is Ringa, if he goes on to take victory here. But Tjester could get something here straight off the kickoff. He does go for initial fake, but it doesn't find its way through. So now it's Ringa again. Coming off that 50-50. Big counter-attack for him now, but that ball will bounce awkwardly. So Tjester, it's all his job now to try and keep possession. But in these tight positions, Ringa dominates. And I love how the camera tried to highlight the demoed player. He sacrificed himself for this goal. And already here in 40 seconds, he does have a 2-goal lead. Big kickoff required here from Tjester if he doesn't want to fall too far behind in the early stages, because we've seen all that happen before, and unfortunately, it's not gone his way. Ringa will get a 3rd goal in the first minute, and I'll tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be quite an anticlimactic ending if this is the way that it goes. But fair play to Ringa, because in these odd-numbered games, he has been fantastic. Ringa will pick up this corner boost. Leaves Tjester guessing for this one. Tries to put it behind him. They are locked in cars temporarily. Tjester will be able to pick up that 100 boost. He will stay on this one as well. Doesn't collect the flip reset initially. Will go for it on the second touch. But Ringa, he's so good at defending these mechanical plays, these flip resets, where you think they'd leave them guessing. You'd think that they'd be almost impossible to stop. But his reaction time is really like no other. He is really that get down and dirty 1v1 player style, which you don't see all that often. Some are more likely to sit back, take their space, and wait for the ball to just kind of fall in their lap. He really isn't that kind of player. He's very front-footed defensively and offensively. And it has paid dividends. It has put Tjester in some really awkward situations. And when you're having to fight back from behind, and you've just got an opponent that won't give you all that much space, it can be a really stressy situation to be in. But either way, he's found himself out of this one with a goal. Now that 3-goal difference reduced to 2, and that feels like a much more manageable comeback now, especially with 3 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock. So much time, especially in this playlist. But Ringa, not slowing down, not letting that momentum fall too far in the favour of the Frenchman. Does try to get those initial shots off. He does have the majority of the boost here on the pitch. He will take that wider one as well. He has the space. Coming off the ceiling, using that empty jump. Fakes going off the floor. And he will just take the shot instead. I was expecting a ground double. I'm sure Tjester was expecting a ground double. It was the way he positioned his car. But instead, saving it for that flip into the bottom right corner. And again, that lead is extended. And Ringa, once you find him ahead, he doesn't make it easy for you to come back. He's just a complete confidence player. And he's so entertaining to watch. Because when he's entertaining, when the match has already been lit, it's so hard to put him out. Tjester, he's demoed off this play. It does remain to Ringa. Ringa will try to get initial shots off, or at least try and force a little bit of boost. But Tjester knew he could take his time, knew that one wasn't on target. but still has found itself back in orange possession. But that's a little bit awkward. Tjester, not much boost, but is able to get that important touch and that corner boost as well. Ringa's bump, however, does keep himself in the play just for that extra bit of time. But it was delaying the inevitable here, as Tjester does get his goal back. Returns to that 2-goal difference, but we know how good Ringa is at responding. I would just love to see if we do see a shifting kickoff strategy. It hasn't happened. Tjester does check his back to see that quickly approaching orange player, of course, Ringa, as always. Back into that corner. It's Ringa again, and oh, it was just a slight misreading of a play here from Tjester, thinking this ball would fall in front of him, but unfortunately it doesn't. I do see that Banan has followed the stream. Welcome to the stream. What you're seeing here is a Game 5 masterclass here from Ringa. He is so good at holding a lead. He might let in a few goals, but he will still keep it wide. He doesn't really ever let it go back to equal. And it makes that job so much more difficult for the blue side. They say that it's the hope that kills you. Ringa's given plenty of that, and it does continue to increase as Tjester gets that goal again, but those 2-goal differences don't tend to last long. We haven't seen it go down to 1 in quite some time now. Will Ringa let it happen? Will Tjester force it out? We'll see a variance in kickoff to try and make that happen. Tjester, well, that's a good initial pop-off. He does get that second touch. Ringa was able to read it. A good recovery as well to pick up that corner boost and try and launch a counter-attack of his own. But Tjester is back in time and just about getting that block there was the Albanian. And it's these little differences now which could decide the entire series here in Game 5. Ringa, ball back into the corner. Tjester will steal it, but it's still tight, still dirty. Ringa trying to come off the corner. Doesn't quite happen. Tjester does get that 50-50 again, but won't find the net yet. 1 goal, all he needs to really put this into his hands. Because I feel like once he's got that goal in the final 60 seconds, he can just go all out. He can go all out. He's got the goal. And this game, not over yet. 3-goal difference, 4-goal difference. It doesn't matter for Tjester. He wasn't the player to call the forfeit earlier. He will fight till the bitter end. 57 seconds, and now Ringa's got to be that worried player. Tjester has that extra bit of belief, that hope, and the skill to do so as well. But, oh, he didn't get the touch there. That makes things dangerous. Small mistakes are huge when you have 45 seconds remaining here, and it's Game 5 of the best-of-5 series. Tjester, no boost, but now it's his opportunity to be that tight, low-boost chaos player, just like Ringa has been for a majority of the series. But now he has control. He wants to delay that flick and get it past Ringa. Ringa's done well to defend. 20 seconds now remaining. Tjester off this ceiling. Does sneak it under, and that's perfect! 18 seconds kept Ringa guessing. And a little bit of revenge with those ceiling plays. Forces Ringa to jump and then just sneaks that one under. A familiar play like we've seen before all over again. And it's Tjester picking up that mid-boost. Ringa, though, will try and keep this one out of danger. But will he force an overtime or will he take the shot? Tjester sees that goal around him, but he's so awkward. This one surely hitting the ground, but I don't want to count those chickens before they hatch because Tjester's got a good touch there. Ringa getting the bump. We do stay going. Tjester's 50-50. Does keep things alive here. Coming off the wall. He's got plenty of time. He spent most of this game behind, but this lead would be all that matters here in this series. Big bumps coming out, and that will decide it! Tjester has done it in the final game, in overtime, in the final seconds. He had to come back. Ringa not quite happy with the collision physics of Rocket League, but